All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Episode 7.
Yang has concocted his plan, and it is in motion.
Yes, he has 200 men and some ladders.
Yeah, 200 good men. He impregnated the bitch, right? And
right.
But it's only 200 men, so what will they do? Probably use the Thor's hammer on the Imperial fleet when they send it out next against Yang.
And then Yang will just take over the station, probably.
Because 2,000 ships, 1,000 men per ship.
Surrender.
Yeah, 2 million men should be enough to take over a fortress.
Now the thing is that Yang has been kind of an anti-war, kind of conscientious, objector while also participating.
Right. Conscientious participator.
Yeah. It's more like he's got his, kind of sarcastic side that shows that he's not as big of a fan of all of this. And yet the idea of him turning potentially a super weapon on a massive fleet with, a million just dead in an instant.
Yep.
I wonder if there's a way he can do this without any, mass, slaughter of any kind. Basically make them surrender.
Yeah.
That would be a bit ridiculous. But his plan is set in motion. I like the idea also that it's not necessarily going to be finished as regard to his plan this episode. Mm-hmm. This could be just the beginning stages of it.
Yep.
Maybe they leave them there for a while.
Right.
And they, have a communication line established or what have you. And then they slowly but surely, integrate themselves. Who knows?
What I love about this, though, is that this is a reason by which, if they wanted to, they could show the in-depth how these 200 guys do their thing inside the fortress, and that kind of personal scale combat is something that we've never really seen before in this show, given that the scale's so big. So that'd be pretty exciting. Yeah,
I don't think they're going to show us really the 200 people because they have only so many characters that they can introduce before we stop caring of who's who. So we've got Yang with insurmountable odds in front of him. His tactical and strategic genius only to serve him, as well as some new faces and characters with his unlucky fleet.
Right.
So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion.
Okay.
Well, all right. No real new kind of characters or what have you introduced this time.
Yep.
We're just going on full execution of the plan.
That's right.
And Yang had a couple stages to this, but it also required a little bit of improvisational skills from Shenkop.
Yes.
Which was something that you predicted accurately. That we would need to see personal combat. And holy crap, they just have axes!
Wait,
okay. You know what I'm thinking now? Old Republic Star Wars, vibro axes. It's not that they're just axes. It's that they're high-tech axes.
Right.
They cut through maybe personal shields or something. Or maybe they...
And there are situations where you don't want to use blasters. That's one of the important things that they established here. With those Zephyr particles and stuff.
It would ignite the particles and cause more explosions.
Which makes sense. If you have blasters and things like that, then using something like that, especially since they're fairly easy to manipulate, as shown in this episode and previously with Yang, that would be something that you would do, right? And then, there you go. That's around. You don't want to use blasters, so then you need to have melee weapons.
And then it basically shows that what makes the Rosenritters so adept as a fighting force is that they can make their 10 men feel like 100, so to speak. When they enter into a battlefield where they dictate that if you use your ranged weapons, all of you will die. Okay, we've trained with these weapons.
Yeah.
We can kill 5 of you in a second with one of these.
Right. And the idea that that the people in the base, they're constantly stationed in the base. They never see combat. The whole idea of actually boots on the ground combat is probably such an archaic thing that it's only done for the suicide kind of missions that are given to the people like the Rosenritter, right?
Or it was done generations ago when the battlefield wasn't centered around the Isolon Fortress, when it was, we've taken this planet, then they've taken this planet, they've taken this planet, we've taken this planet.
But even then, most of the time, that'd probably just be resolved by fleets doing strafing runs or something.
Or just declaring surrender, or we start doing strafing runs. I think you're right. I think that the reason why the technology is held back on personnel weapons regarding this is that there is almost never a need for personnel on personnel combat.
Right.
Ships don't get boarded.
Yep.
They get vaporized by railguns from, like exactly. 5,000 kilometers away,
Yeah.
Like, this is the world of, what were those, what were the laser things that the Fejon Dominion sent to?
The
thing that protects the Alliance
Artemis necklace or something like that. Yeah.
I've got it in my notes here. But basically that kind of, kind of stuff where it's just like, this just wipes out a fleet.
Which is kind of fun to have that be previously established, and then Yang gets this Thor's hammer, which is basically an equivalent, and he's like, oh god, this is awful. I don't want to do something like what the Empire does.
Right.
And that's what's protecting the Alliance capital. But,
yeah.
Bump it up and Artemis necklace.
Artemis necklace.
Yep. But and they also did something that I was kind of surprised by, but it makes a lot of sense if you think about it, in that they weren't able to utilize all 200 people like as a fighting force, right? Because
because they were separated, probably.
Right, they were separated because it's all part of the ploy of, yes, we're a ship, and please, take us in. Because if it's like, yes, these 200 people need to go to the bridge.
That seems a little bit sus,
sketch, right? And the fact that, and it was a good thing that they brought up that there was the security guy who's like, hey, no, there's protocols here. Like, even though there's just the three of you and one seems to be in critical condition, I can't let you go there just yet. Mm-hmm. We need to figure things out. But then because of the arrogance and gullibility of the commanders in position there, then of course, which also gives the whole aspect of the idea that in the Empire, while it is very much a meritocracy, it is also a nobility. Yes. So people will be in positions that shouldn't actually be in those positions. Mm-hmm. And it can be very easy with something like, because, Sun Tzu said, walls are a cover-up for bad strategy, right?
Yes.
Or bad tactics. So in this situation, the people... much like, I don't know, like a situation with Game of Thrones, you could have people that are given basically the golden egg, and it's hard to mess that up. But you
still can.
But you still can, and they're not actually the best people for the job, maybe. Oof, that
was cold. That was beautiful, though.
But, and then stuff like this happens, and, well, hopefully the Empire learns.
Yeah, but maybe it takes a while.
Yep, and I loved the almost the callback to World War II with the nukes of the ultimate horrible weapon that's used once, and it's like
immediately you're like, we shouldn't fire that again.
Yeah, we shouldn't fire that again.
This isn't war,
right? Because but then for some reason there's like the fact that they fired specifically twice. It shows
maybe
it shows the fact that yes, the general or the admiral had to be taken out specifically, right? Totally makes sense. But the fact that it was too, it's like, was that like?
Yeah, that might be reading a bit too deep into it, but I did think about that for a brief second with regards to not the twice bit, but the aspect of a super weapon that was fired.
And I Am Become Death.
Become Death was immediately like on my mind once I saw them just go, oh. And I liked that it was immediately a Shenkop who was like, Commander, Admiral, this is not war. This is slaughter. Uh-huh. And we, I think, assumed, maybe a little bit incorrectly, but like we assumed that the weapon was so powerful it might have just wiped out the fleet in one shot.
Right.
But no, it is a railgun. It isn't like some like death field of it's anime fantasy, what have you. It's a big laser, of partically accelerated shit just sent their way.
To make another reference, this isn't Code Geass. It's not where you shoot a laser somewhere and then there's some magical mirror thing or whatever that then causes. That's actually, well, wait, no, that's what the Artemis necklace is. But that has a whole bunch of other things that cause that to happen, so it works. But
but the Artemis necklace, they literally did nothing to explain actually how it works. Whereas this one, they just said it's a railgun.
Right.
And so we know what a railgun is. We know how it works, and it's just a big scale railgun.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Okay, cool.
That they choose to have be reminiscent of the Death Star super laser.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
On a big sphere space station.
Star Wars came out like when this started, like Like, the original Star Wars came out, I think,
10 years
11
before.
years ago.
Yeah, because 77 to 88.
Which means Return of the Jedi was 5 years before this. Right. It was 88 or 89.
It's kind of a culturally
relevant
with this time, but which is great.
Oh,
which is great. But, like, wow. Yeah, and the comedy. Okay.
There was some comedy in this episode.
Like one, Oberstein just constantly being like, "Oh God, please," and then him being like, leave, and then Oberstein's like,
"All right,
thank you," and just gets like, I can't believe that actually. Like, I was hoping that would happen, and it did happen, but then also the guy dropping, and it's like, oh no, he's dead. Cut to commercial break, right, and then come back.
He's just hanging there.
And then there's a really cute lady underneath. And
he's just like, hey.
Hey. And she's like, oh, hi. And then he just climbs back up. Like, oh my God. That's wonderful. They
didn't even animate the mouth movements of the characters. It was just like one of those things where, it's probably in like some compilation of like funny moments from Legend of Galactic Heroes. You just have like, hey.
Right. And this is amidst we need to capture the super weapons so we can vaporize 1 million people with the push of a button, right?
Yeah.
And it's amidst all of that, which
that was just so tonally just surprising.
Yeah.
Okay, we have also another aspect of, I would say, more of the chess maneuvering that I rather liked here. We have two sides that have different motivations within their bridges for specific things. When Yang and Shenkop were like, no, we're going to let them withdraw. Like, we won't even pursue. All the young guys at the front were like, whoa, yeah, but like, we fight for glory as well.
Like they do the same thing to us, so...
Yeah, it was a thing of where I think they were in a little bit of a... Maybe, I don't know if this would be like... an unruly conduct essentially for military kind of setup for them to be like, but commanding officer person, why are you doing this?
Right.
That feels a little bit,
Yeah, and they definitely didn't cause trouble, but it was surprise,
Right, but I am fascinated by the idea that the Alliance has brainwashed maybe everyone in the young aspiring military people that we're going to defeat the Empire at that level, like total war,
and
for the glory of the Alliance and what have you, not for the sake of our loved ones so that they will not die in future warfare, but for the glory of a that's just a little chilling.
It is very chilling, and we've seen that with frickin' I hate him so much. No, not Stockhausen. Trunit, thank you. Yeah.
Just remember Job,
right. Yeah. But
his name is freaking Job. Unless it's Job, and this whole time we've been like,
sure, yeah. But the idea that in a very real way. Let's be honest about this. They are trained to kill because that's how you win wars.
Yeah, totally.
Yang's coming at this in a very different way, right? And in a lot of situations, Yang doing something like this, right? In another set of circumstances, maybe even in this one, could come back to bite him so bad. Right? Because that's additional Empire like forces that are on the other side. Right. That could potentially try and catch the fortress in a fork. Right.
But both instances, both choices that he could have made here tell a story.
Oh, definitely.
And the Empire, regardless of whether they actually accept the intent, the story still spreads. And one of them is that our entire fleet was decimated as we tried to retreat by the Thor hammer turned against us as they fired, vaporizing millions with every shot.
Yep.
Then the Empire gets unified and they get pissed off. They're like, you guys made us fools. We're going to mobilize. We're going to get all unified against this, because that's the Empire's main problem is that they're divided.
Yep.
The Alliance's strength is that they're unified, but they get a little bit
chilling and creepy with the fact that
how
they're
unified. But like unified under like a threat of certain things.
Yeah.
But if the other story went out there that we had an unruly commander and no one else was able really to stop him.
Sure.
Once he was defeated, they let us go.
Yeah, and what that will, in a lot of ways, do is that will cause, and this would probably happen either way.
Sure.
But that the other Imperial admirals will be like those fools that were in charge of the Iserlon fortress.
Yep.
How did they possibly blunder so badly?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Like that.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Because like they had everything. It was like they could practically sleep and nothing bad would happen. Right.
Right. They probably could have shut down the fortress and just had their fleet sit outside the fortress and just wait.
Yep.
And nothing would have gone wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Now, there's multiple...
Potentially not even leave the fortress.
There's multiple blunders at fault here. Mm-hmm. But I like that it was Stockhausen, or... was it Stockhausen or Siecht that was in the fortress?
Siecht was in the fortress, I believe, and Stockhausen was the... we will take the fight to them.
I'm not actually sure about that, actually, because I feel like it was the other way around.
It might have been.
Either way, they both sought glory and their own personal selfish ends, rather than caring about the lives of their men.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it's ridiculous to think that is the kind of person you would let be in charge of millions.
Right. And that's the problem with it, with the nobility aspect of it, in that because it's such a contrast with the whole idea of the meritocracy. Because on the one hand, like, yeah, okay, if they do well, survival of the fittest kind of a thing. If they don't end up doing well, then eventually they'll get taken out. But if they can start there without anything, without any merit, then yeah.
So Siecht was actually the one in the fleet.
No.
Siecht here with...
Here
with Oberstein.
Yep.
So it was the other way around.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, because he was like, where the hell is Siecht right now? Because they had no communication with their own fleet outside the fortress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
one might say he seeked for glory. No.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But Oberstein was very ober with it.
Yang wanted to retire, and he went to actually go do it to Citalet.
But you can't get out of this, buddy.
But that's something that's really depressing about this war, is that essentially Yang basically offered his, like, I want peace paper. Mm-hmm. Regardless of whether or not the war ends here, he's saying, yeah, I
want to be done.
Right. And by him retiring, what the Alliance might have done is then gone, wait a minute, actually... And this is probably why I think Trunit is definitely not necessarily in league with the Fejon Dominion, what have you, and that he is war profiteering in addition with this.
Sure.
Is that always like the glory of the Alliance and all that, and freaky stuff. Is that there is no way the Alliance would sue for peace if Yang was the leader of their fleet, and then they were like, he's unstoppable. We can't lose. Why should we stop here? Let's keep going.
Yeah. Let's see how many eggs this golden goose can lay.
Yeah, exactly. But if he leaves, then they go, he stepped down and allowed us this glorious opportunity for peace. And then Trunit goes, well, actually, like, we can't sit idly by and let them... Yeah, maybe we see now how it's possible to take the Iserlon fortress. That means it's not impregnable, which means we can't stay here. Now that would be like a logical way to look at it, but
and there could be tons of different stories that would be told as ways to spin it.
That's true.
Once they have the Iserlon fortress, they're not going to stop there. They're like,
they could,
they could, but unlikely.
It's just it's so tactically ridiculous that there's a place in space that is the only access point for these two massive warring factions to engage in. And then you have a super space station that's no moon, it's a Death Star kind of place there. Once that fortification is reinforced with the Alliance fleet and personnel, why would they ever ever lose the advantage unless literally people were playing both sides.
Or unless Oberstein goes to Reinhardt and he's like, you gotta clean up their mess. Like, this is a legit problem, you know. And then Yang's off sortying past the fortress, basically, maybe, with, you know, because that's where they're sending him. Okay. And then Reinhardt's like, okay, all right, well, you know, perhaps, is this something that you want me to do? You know, all you people that tried to backstab me and whatnot?
By, like, you know, taking him away from the fortress, and then he goes and takes it back.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, Reinhardt commands so many ships at this point. Like,
he is the fleet...
He is a fleet admiral.
He is a fleet admiral, but isn't he like one of the? There was a
specific title that they gave him
recently.
Where basically he was like second in command of like the whole Imperial fleet. What was it?
He recently got promoted big time. So we'll have to see what Reinhardt says in response here. Oberstein will go and report. I like to see Oberstein in a situation that felt very much like he was the Yang of the Empire here.
Yes.
He was very much like, hey, I know you're not going to listen to me, but you should. And I'm not going to, like, you know, talk, you know, as if you're an idiot. But, like, I really feel like we should do this. I feel like that's maybe the thing that's rather brilliant about the show is that we see them in a military setting here. And we, as people, like, I've never been in a military setting there. But you have to be respectful and adhere to your superior officer, otherwise there's no chain of command thing, what have you.
You'll get court-martialed at worst.
Right. But the idea that we are watching stupidity unfold at the highest levels of the Empire military, and we want Oberstein to tell him off.
Right.
The best thing Oberstein can do actually is just like, all right, I'm leaving.
Right. and I love that. Oh man. Yeah. Just the fact that I think it says a lot about Oberstein as a character, but it was also great for comedy's sake, in that. In the guy's stupidity, he's like, leave, you know, and he's thinking probably get out of my presence, right? Shoo, you mosquito, right? And then he's just like, I was hoping that you would either agree with me or you would say those magic words. I will definitely do that, sir. Yeah. He just sort of elbow, wrist as he goes in the escape pod, and then
just sees a white light. He's like,
whew. Yeah, a little bit of, you know, Gary's game. That was close. Like,
yeah, exactly. All right,
boy.
Balance of power has shifted.
Yep.
And like the episode said, how will this unfold from here on out? Yang is going to continue in service to the Alliance.
Yep. And
continue to work miracles for them until he encounters the other miracle worker on the other side of the battlefield. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access. So you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general. And you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
That's right. If you like sci-fi and like big ships and all that stuff, then you should check out the sci-fi novel that I wrote. It's called Battle Lines. It's really cool, and you can get it on Amazon in both hardback and ebook. Link in the description. Go check it out.
It's also got pretty brutal personnel fight, you know.
Yes, it does indeed.
Pretty legit stuff. So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.